Okay, so today we'll be talking about Prezi. It's an alternative to PowerPoint, and I'll show you the video that they have on their website to get us started, and then I'll show you what you can do with the actual software. So this is just Prezi.com, and it's a program that's entirely online. You don't have to download anything to your computer. You can do it all online, and then you can access it from any computer, and you can save your presentation if you wanted to back it up. We'll see what they have to say about it, though.
In life, ideas are constant. Every day is a barrage of suggestions, concepts, and proposals. Most get lost in the shuffle, and too many are forgotten. But one remarkable idea is going to spread, light people up, change the world. Let that idea be yours. From inspiration, through concept development, to illustrating the story of a lifetime. Prezi is about creativity and the visualization of thoughts in motion, helping you tell stories that get embraced, shared, and take on a life of their own. It is only through the sharing, evolution, and acceptance of an idea by others that its impact can be measured. Ideas model. Prezi.
So that's their basic commercial for it. But what happens is that when one software gets really popular, just like any kind of market brand out there, like when PowerPoint gets really popular, there will be competitors. And so PowerPoint is a purchase program. You have to buy into it for the Microsoft Office suite. But this company decided to make their own presentation software that anybody can use in a similar manner, but people can use it for free. So you can go in, and free stuff nowadays usually requires you to sign up, but all you do is put in your email, password, and sign in that way. And it's free to use to an extent, and if you wanted the bigger benefits, a lot of companies now do that, free to use. And if you want more flexibility and more options, and probably more layouts and things, you can purchase it for a reasonable price. So I thought that I might start out by showing you an example, not one that I did, but one good thing about Prezi is that if you wanted to get ideas for what to use it for, you can search through a lot of the Prezis that people have made. So on the free account, when you sign in, you create something and it's saved there and you can go and use it anytime. On the free account, it's also free for anybody else to see, so it's not private in that sense. Anybody can search through it and anybody can view it. So you don't want to put sensitive information out there. I mean, that's a given for anything these days, but... Or inventions. Whatever you use it for, just keep that in mind. On the free account, it's going to be a public access account. So I'm going to show you one example that I found that shows you a little bit of everything it can do. And it's easier to explain it after you see it. It's one of those things where I can tell you bit by bit how it works and stuff like that, but it's better to see it in motion. You saw some of it in the video. Basic idea being that it's a presentation software where you can put different ideas down and show people in whatever order you want. So if you think of PowerPoint, which looks like this, we do have PowerPoint on all our computers you can come in and use. Since the library bought it, anybody can use PowerPoint here. And this is the layout. You see there's a lot of stuff at the top, there are a lot of buttons. There's a big pane over here, and then there's a little preview of what you have on the left. So that's just how PowerPoint did it, and then I'll show you how Prezi compares to that by opening up an example of what they did. So let me get out of here and move over to my link. And then after Prezi, I'll give you some more information, because this is supposed to be a session where people just generally interested in technology can come and learn a little bit about what's going on and a little bit about what's out there. So I present one idea and then maybe some news, and I give you another idea of an app that's out there. So that's the melting pot of technology here. Okay, so let's look at this together and see what we can gather from it. So when you go and make a Prezi and you save it online, you can go back and access it here at Prezi.com and view it anywhere and show it to anybody on any computer that has internet access. So as long as you can get on the internet, You can go in and review it and re-edit it and everything like that. You can even set it to play automatically on a timer like you can for PowerPoint. So some people use PowerPoint as a slideshow to show different pictures at a wedding or a celebration like that. You can also use this for that. But I'll go ahead and expand it to full view, and we'll see what somebody did as education one. And so you can see up here, prezi.com / all these numbers and letters / name of the project. Like YouTube, it saves an instance of every project, and they just pay for that web space themselves and make up for an advertising. So your project is saved here, and you can save that link and go back to it anytime you want. Or you can log in and it saves all your presentations together. So I'll go ahead and go in here and open it up. And this is going to be the first slide of their presentation. And it's on public education, so I won't spend an entire hour talking about this presentation, but I'll show you what the program can do. So this is the Prezi interface, and it's kind of like YouTube in that, you know, everything goes away if you're in full screen, and if I need to get the menu back, I go down here, and we have zooming and a home button. So I'll tell you how that stuff works in a little bit. So now this screen is also cut off a little bit. You should be aware of that. That's not exactly how it should look, but for purposes today, it's good enough. So public education is the first slide they came up with. When I go to the second slide, it moves out a little bit. And then on the third slide, you see that it did a sort of pan, like in, you know, you see documentaries move across maps or something like that. That's the idea that they went for in their presentation software. So these are just main ideas that they wanted to tell to their, whoever made this, to their company or business, or maybe they're holding a meeting for the public. So this is their main idea number one, basically. And they can move in on that child's face if they want and put a new list of things. And then you see it goes section by section. So if you think of it as like a road map or an actual physical map, you can zoom in, like on Google Maps, you can go down to the street level, and what you do is zoom back out and zoom in on another place. So if we wanted like a presentation on Prezi about Florida, we could do South Florida and zoom in on that, and then we could do Central Florida and zoom out and zoom back in on Central Florida. That's the idea of how they set it up like a road map. This is stuff that people are talking about for education. Over here, they said, well, what will the stories of 2013 be? And we're going to get pretty soon to the big picture here, and you'll get an idea how this works. It might be a little dizzy right now, but it doesn't have to move this fast. You can move as slow as you want. This is the big picture, and this is the selling point for Prezi. Instead of PowerPoint where you go slide by slide and it's like a projector, like the old slide projectors that you might have done 50 years ago, this is an entire poster that's all there together all the time. So it's linked together intrinsically. And if you see on here, they have different templates that you can use when you sign up for it. You can go in and sign up and pick out the template you want. And if you pay more, you get more templates. That's the basic idea. But you can see some of what's going on here in that this is the big picture. We started, I think we started over here actually, on the treetop. So this was just an introduction to what they were saying, and this is their main points. So I bet you that if we keep going, you see some small numbers here. It says number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. This will go back and zoom back in on number 1, and then it'll zoom out and zoom back in on number 2. So the idea is that it presents this big map. You get to go in, and when you make your Prezi, you can choose exactly where it focuses on. You can choose where it goes next and what order it goes in. And you can choose to create a big picture like this and put a lot of different elements. We could have more out here if we wanted. And you can make things as big or as small as you want. So that's the idea. If I press the next slide here, I won't go through everything here, obviously. But if I press the next slide, I was right. You go into number 1 on the tree. And so what you can do, other things you can do with Prezi, instead of just putting in text, you can put in links. And the idea here is you capture a whole idea in one snapshot, and then you go in bit by bit and explain it. So this is chapter 1, read, watch, listen, do. So if I press right again, there's a video that starts playing. One thing you can do, turn it down a little bit. One thing you can do is you can embed YouTube videos in this presentation so that you saw how seamlessly it worked. all I did was click to the next slide and it started playing the video automatically. I didn't have to go out to YouTube, play that video, the audio is not working, fix that, or I didn't have to embed it inside a PowerPoint. All I did was drag it onto Prezi, and I'll show you how we can do that later as we go through how to make a Prezi. And then it starts playing automatically. So that's one of the neat features, is it's sort of a container for everything else you create. So if you have photos hosted somewhere, you can pull them in here. If you have a video that you made, you can pull it into Prezi. So I won't show this whole video, it's not relevant, but if I go to the next slide, then it goes to the next point. Watch what it's like. We have information here, we have a link here. If we wanted, we could have put a picture there. And like I said before, you can install video right there too. So this is the basic organizing principle behind Prezi, is that you can smush anything in there from outside, and you can give the big picture as well as the little picture. Those are the basics. So I'm not going to go through the whole presentation, but I can answer a few questions if you have questions on the basics before we go on the side of the point.
I was wondering about this because this is public, and you said it, like if I saved something, I could go back in there and edit it any way I wanted. Could someone else edit?
No. So just like on YouTube, everything that you post is public. Well, you can make it private on YouTube, but you are in control of what you make. Okay, so you could send the information to somebody if they wanted to edit it. You can send them the login information. But basically, the way that it saves your video is you have to register first. Before you create anything, you have to register. And then it saves it under your account. So you can go in and edit your account, but nobody else can. But other people can view your presentation.
Well, do you
That's a
have
good
to
question.
authorize whatever you upload to be seen by other people, or anybody can?
No, it's automatically public.
How do they access your presentation?
You can send them the link to your presentation. So let me get out of this view and I'll show you that answer. Up here you have the link to your presentation. If you wanted to show this to your friend and email it to them, you would just go up here and, well, there's a couple ways to do it. So this is the old-fashioned way, which I'm used to. I can go up here and I can copy this entire link and I can send that to my friend in an email. So if I opened up a new email, I just put that entire thing in there and say this is my presentation. Nowadays, they sort of built these things in for you. So if you go to Prezi and you see, like on YouTube, if you use YouTube a lot, you can see that you can share it by sending an email, or you can embed it. You can put it on your blog or your website. You can put anybody's YouTube there for yourself. But down here, we can share from here too. So if I click on this button, and this will show up on every single Prezi that you make. If I click on the share button, it says it's public because that's the account that they have. You can copy the link there and send it to people. I thought there would be an email feature too. Only 4 people listed below can edit reviews Prezi while they're working.
So if I wanted to see your presentations, you have to send me the link?
Or you can search by name. So if I know that somebody made this, the person who made this is Sam Chaltain, I can search for that in Prezi.com. Or I can search for it by category. So if I wanted to view something on public education, I could go to Prezi.com and search public education. Explore. So if I click on Explore on the main Prezi site, I can search through all these, and I can search for public education. And it shows results. I can't vouch for how great the search is, but you see that there are other ones on public education too, so you can view by category, or if I wanted to search by user, I can search, I could probably find his by doing a search for his name.
I don't have to have an account in order to do it, right?
No, you can view all of these for free. That's a good point. You don't have to have an account to just go on Prezi and see what other people have done. That's the idea. They want to spread the idea that it's easy to use and that people use it all the time. So that's why they make it public, so everybody's sharing information. If I search by his name and I want to see his presentations, I can see his profile, and he made one presentation. That's the one I'm looking at. So if your friend says they're on Prezi, you can search their name under the Explore tab, or you can also search by category. So I can search music or whatever anything I want to search for that. The other thing I didn't show you yet, but we'll get to it, is that you can also manually control the zoom. So if I wanted to go out, I can just press out on the magnifying glass. So you can set where the camera goes, we'll call it a camera, in terms of what order it's presented. So if I wanted to set it to go 1, 2, 3 like that, like it did, that's how my presentation is going to go through. But this is the best part. In PowerPoint, you have a linear presentation, right? In Prezi, if I'm over here at one slide or something, and somebody says, "Oh, could you go back to that that one you were talking about before?" and it's not the slide before; it's like 50 slides before. One thing you can do really quickly is I can slide out like this, and I say, "Okay, what did you want to hear about?" "Oh, that thing I talked about over here." Okay, I'll go over here, and you're back there in like a couple of clicks. So it's a lot easier to zoom around and to go from slide to slide and to jump around from slide to slide. Whereas in PowerPoint, if I were in I wish I had loaded a different PowerPoint now as an example, but if I were on slide 50 on PowerPoint and I were in the actual showing the PowerPoint, I would have to go out of the PowerPoint and I would have to find out on the left here which slide I wanted, scroll up and down, and then I'd have to click on it. And sometimes slides are very similar, it takes a while to find. But if you remember, and by location, by geography, if you remember what topic is where on your presentation, it makes it a lot easier for you to slide around in the middle of the presentation and say, okay, I wanted to talk about funding now, that's number 8, I'll go down to funding, or something like that. So that's one unique feature that's not in PowerPoint. Yep.
Can you edit?
Yes.
Where do you edit?
I'll show you next on how to. We'll sign up for an account together because I have my own, but we can sign up for a new one, so you'll give the entire experience, and then we'll go in and create one together and see how that works. So any other questions before I start doing that? Yes.
So that one with the tree is just one example of their program, and so there's many others about it.
Yes. So what they do for the free version is they give you a set number of templates you can choose from. I don't know, it's probably about 20, and you can go in and pick, and all of them are kind of like a map. So this is a tree with branches, there's like, you know, a paved road that goes up a mountain, there's other ones that have footsteps, so they're all sort of like a map theme in terms of getting from point A to point B and all these points in between. Okay, so if you'll bear with me, I'll just go through the process of registering and show you how easy it is. Sometimes if I just pull up an account and start working, people get confused. I want to walk through it with you step by step, so see what you see and see if I forgot to prepare for anything. Oh, it should be fun. Okay, so sign up is the button you press. So if I just go to Prezi.com and sign up, it's that big blue button on the upper right, and this is where you log in. If I already have a email and password, I can log in there. So if I wanted to sign up, it takes me to the options. Public is the free one, and it gives you all the information here. This is what I was talking about before. You can sign up for free, and they won't charge you, but all of your presentations will be public. You do have the ability to edit and share, but you can only save so many presentations. 100 megabytes should be enough to make a few, probably at least, 8 pretty good solid presentations. Sometimes if you use a lot of big pictures, it'll take up a lot more memory. But if you're a professional or if you're in school and you want to do this a lot, you can go in and start doing this to pay for it. If you like it a lot, you're using it every week, that's one way you can do that. Yes?
Can you print your presentation for yourself?
You can print notes to it, just like you can print PowerPoint notes. But the way that it's set up, it's going to be kind of hard to print out the huge roadmap and then print out every little pixel along the way. So you can print out the frames that you did. Yes. Does that answer?
Is there a limited time for the free trial?
No. As far as I know, there's no. It says free, no surprises. I've used it for a couple of years. They haven't charged anything to maintain my account. Okay. So we'll go in and free sign up here. The other information I can give you is that you can sort of bypass the paying if you wanted to download all your presentations. So like I said, you do all your presentations online and they stay online. There is a way to download all of those files so that you can play it on any computer without internet access. So if I were tricky and wanted to go for free forever, I could just sign up and just download everything I make and then delete it off my account and create new ones. That takes a little bit of management on your own. It takes up space on your computer and you have to organize things. So it's a lot easier to pay into their system, but if you wanted to use it for free for a long term, you would just delete your old presentations so you can make new ones, but you can save all of them along the way. So we'll click on public sign up. We'll go through here. I'll just make a generic one. With our email address. And then you agree to terms of use, which is the same as any other website. And it's already trying to link me into Facebook. So there is connection with social media here. You can share your presentations on Facebook, but they'd have to come to the site. That's one way to share without email, and you could share it to Facebook. All your friends will see it. They can click on it and go look at it. You can share it to Twitter and all these other places. So they're giving you a lot of information here. You can start referring friends to Prezi. So if I get 3 people in this class to sign up, I'll get an upgrade to my account for free. I don't know how long that'll last, but they like spreading word like that. That's a common thing for companies to do. So I'm already logged in. I can create a public profile like I can anywhere else on Facebook or whatever. I can put information in a picture of myself. We're going to skip all that, and right here we have a lot of links and stuff, but if you'll notice the big blue button says New Prezi. We can just go there and start making a Prezi together. So that took up all of, 15 seconds to log in with my email address. I don't even need a confirmation email and go and click on that. I just logged in and I'm good to go. So I press on New Prezi, and this will bring you to the screen where you create a new Prezi. So you might have an idea of how it looks when it comes out, but how do I get there? So we'll get here together, and maybe we'll do, anybody have a good topic we want to present on to our friends, class, business, fundraising? Nobody had your birthday party? Nobody? Okay.
Water pollution.
Water pollution. Okay, that's a good one. So now if we were doing water pollution, what would we want to pick? We don't want to pick like some kind of weird detective murder mystery thing over here. But that looks like it's an earth and it's a blue thing. So that might be good. It does say resume. But there's a one with this ship. That looks even better. So you can go through, look, to see what you want to pick out. That looks more like it's more geared towards a resume. So we might even pick the cruise one. Riding the waves is also pretty good for water pollution. Tip of the iceberg, I think, is the winner though, because iceberg, water pollution, melting. So look at all of these you can choose from. There are some pretty standard ones with just bar graphs. There are very basic ones with just 4 points. And it gives you sort of a little metaphor to work with. Turning point is like, okay, this is where our company has been, point 1, point 2. This is the big thing that happened this year, and this is what happened. So there are very basic ones. There are very complicated ones. I like the iceberg. We'll go with the iceberg and water pollution. Tip of the iceberg. I just click one time on that. I think it's loading. Use template.
Do you have to do this only from a PC, or can you do it from a tablet, or?
They do have an app. They have a Prezi app, which I have not used, but it's free to use. So you can download that.
On where, an iPad, or?
Yes. I believe it's for also Android. Sure. Yeah, if you have Android tablet, you can look for that. It should just be called Prezi, and it should be free to download and use. Okay, so now you see a little bit of where they're taking influence from PowerPoint. If you see from the other PowerPoint program I opened before, there's the big window you're working on right here, and then there's all your tiny information over here. It does kind of look like PowerPoint at this point. There's just a lot less information. It's a lot big buttons. It's a lot more colorful. It's trying to be a little bit sleeker and a little bit easier to use for all ages. So you have the present button, which I could go into and start presenting on a blank presentation if I wanted to. There's also a feature to create from scratch. So if you're an artist, you could probably you can do whatever you want. You can upload your own background, and you can upload your own pictures of ships or whatever you want to do. Okay, so let's just go down and we'll edit some of this information. So tip of the iceberg is the name of our presentation. We'll say we want to change that. If we want to change that, this is sort of a Lego building block kind of interface. So if I want to go change on anything, I just point my mouse and click on it. And now I have a few options. If I just take some time and read through it, I can see everything I could do. Edit the text. So if I wanted to change that to water pollution, which I will, I can do that, or I can delete it. If I wanted to move it around, I can do so with the hand. See? And it gives me a little guideline. So if I want to keep it square with that, it has the dotted line. Or if I want to go off course, I can just go over here. But if I want to square it up, if you hit in the middle somewhere, you see the guideline there? Lets you square up. And if I want to make it bigger, I can make it bigger. And if I want to make it smaller, I can make it smaller. You can also do that over here on the squares, but it's a lot easier to just use the plus and minus. So this is trying to be as simple as possible, with allowing you to do whatever you want still. So all I do is backspace across all that and put in water pollution. Notice I can also change the colors. So each sort of template comes with its own color scheme. You can change that under themes if you want. Right now we'll just put in water pollution, and we'll say, you know, the effect of whatever. You can type in your subtitle there if you want. So this is just one thing. You'll notice a handy little guide up here. This is your tree view. Remember how we zoomed all the way out on that? This is what we're looking at as a little reminder of where we are on the map. If I wanted to press on the entire view, I can do that. So now I can see exactly where we are. And it's hard to see on this screen since all the colors are very similar, but you can see tiny little boxes. You see this number 1 here. This is the first box that you go to, so that's how you line it up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over here. So if I wanted to, I can click on box number 1 and it goes box number 1, right? I can also just click down the side here if I want to go to box number 4 really quick. I can go right there. So that's one way of doing it. And of course everything is editable, so I could go in and change the boxes wherever I want. But for now, we can just leave it very simple and do what they intend us to do. Somebody created this, some graphic designer, so we'll just go ahead and follow their plan because it's pretty basic, but it's good for a basic presentation. So this is like your title screen when you go in to present to your school or business or whatever. And then you can zoom out and give them the big picture. So in the big picture, you can put your main topic, like how does water pollution affect us? All I did was click on that one time and it let me type. And if I want to get out, I just click one time and it updates it for me. Now, like in Word, you have a little thing here. You can change the font. If I wanted to edit it, I can change the font to be bigger. I can change the style of the font and the colors. There's not a whole bunch of selection, but it does work a little bit if you want. So then I'll just go point by point and go through and create my slides. I want to put statistics and things like that. I want to put other pictures. Now if I wanted to embed something in here, we'll do edit text. Detail 1, icebergs, examples. So how do we get fun stuff in here? Well, basically we can add in videos and pictures and things. Let's see. It just wants me to add text there by clicking one time. So I can add in more stuff there with text. So if I'm on any screen and I wanted to add text, all I do is click once and it adds text. If I wanted to add a photo or a video, you see these few buttons up here. I can add a photo up here. I just go to Insert, and You can insert an image, symbols and shapes. A lot of options here. We'll keep it very basic. How about I just want a picture of an iceberg? So if you have your own picture, you can use your own picture on your computer, or I can go to Google Images and search for an iceberg that I can use for this example today, with the caveat in place that if you don't own the image, you shouldn't use it, etc., etc. But that looks pretty cool. Maybe we're doing a before or after, and we can show this as it was 5 years ago, and we could show it as today. So I can take this, and I can save this image to my computer from the internet. And I save that image to the computer. And then when I go back to my Create Prezi screen, I can insert that image. And well, I didn't even have to do that. I got ahead of myself. It'll let you search right here from Google Images. So you can select the file. I'll show you both ways. You can select the file here and put iceberg in like that. Open it. So if you have your own photos of your vacation or whatever, you can insert it that way. And boom, it's right there for you. Okay? If I don't want that, I can delete it. I can also, there's some other things here now. I can replace, I can crop it. So you can do some basic editing in here too. It's not like Photoshop, but you can do some basic editing. Delete that. So they even made it a lot easier for me. If I insert an image, I don't have it, but I want to find it, I'll just put an iceberg right there and search for images. It even has the caveat I just said, search for images licensed for commercial use. So I have a very similar iceberg there. And now this is a sleek interface, so if I don't want that one, I can go down and choose another one there. So you see it creates a little film strip of icebergs for us, and I can pick whichever one I want. I do like that one though, so we'll click on that one and click on Insert, and it will insert it for us. So now that's in our presentation. Notice how it's really big, and I don't want it that big. I want to fit it right in that circle right above this. I guess that's a whale right there. If I click on that and click on Minimize, then I can move it with the hand, and it's right there for me. Guess what? It even lines up for me, right in the center. Done. If I'm in a menu on an item, I don't want to go somewhere else or stop looking at it, I can just click off to the side of the screen. And that's, you know, it's a little crooked, but you can rotate and stuff too. But that looks pretty good for a first start, right? You can do the same thing with a YouTube video. If I wanted to insert a YouTube video with an iceberg in it or something like that. Video link. That's, in this case, we would have to go and actually get the video link for an iceberg, which I can try and do real quick, just to show you the exact capabilities that we have here.
So you can download from YouTube to the presentation?
Yes, you can. That video I showed you in that presentation before was a video from YouTube. And I apologize for the content. Hopefully it will be appropriate. Iceberg flipping over. That seems pretty appropriate. So what I can do is take this video link and I can put it right into Prezi, and it will show that video for me. Maybe I want to do that in the next slide. So the first slide will just show a picture of it. The second slide will show it falling into the water. So I'm sure that's a good video. I will go up and I can copy the link from here. This is just your regular web browser, and I just copied that link right there. I can right click to copy that. You can also do some fancy stuff down here. If you wanted to copy the link from here, you can do it from there, and it shortens it for you and all that. So the share is sort of like how you get the video out of YouTube and put it elsewhere. But if I go back to my presentation now, let's go to a different slide, since we're already, slide 1 is just a picture, right? We'll just leave the picture there. I don't have any statistics for you guys, so we'll just leave the picture. Slide 2, or 4 as it were. So the first slide is the title page, the second slide is the big picture. Third, we went in for the picture of the iceberg. And fourth, we'll put in iceberg video, and we'll just describe it as flipping over. And you can go in and edit and add as much text as you want or as little text. I can delete that sub thing if I don't want that. I can just delete that. But to insert the video, now you'll notice that it doesn't just insert it anywhere. I have a whole map here. It could put it out in left field if it wanted to, but it's a smart software and it puts it right on the screen I'm looking at. So if I paste in this video right here, that's that YouTube I just put, it will insert it by sort of taking it from YouTube and putting it into my presentation, ideally.
No copyright situation, right?
Huh?
I mean, you can't, no copyright situation.
Right, since YouTube videos are public on YouTube, Prezi can take them over and insert them into your presentation if you want. Yeah. So I was wrong, but it usually does. That might have just been an anomaly this time. But guess what? I can show you how to fix that now. If we want to get that video into the other slide, it did add it down here, I think, because I had clicked down there before. It should have added it up there. But this is a good learning tool. So if I want to get out, I can scroll with my mouse here, or I can go over to the right, and there's a plus and minus. So I can go out a little bit, and there's my next slide over there. My video is right here. It's just like Legos. Just pull it up right there and pop it in there. Now if I want to get back to the slide quick, I can click on the left, and it zooms in there for me. That's a little big, right? So we can make that a little bit smaller. Like that. So it's like any picture program on your computer. You can do the frames, or I can do plus or minus right there. It lines it up in the center for me, and that'll play. So now that'll play in my presentation just like I showed you before. When I hit next slide, it'll show this. But now if I want to zoom in on the video, let me see. I can insert a frame, and this is one concept that's a little hard to explain without the visuals, but the way that it bounces from slide to slide is that it placed a frame there, and what this person who made this did was they put those little circles, and that's where the camera goes. So if I want to add a circle for the camera to go somewhere, I can add it, like adding a new slide to PowerPoint. I can add a new one to zoom in on that video, and that's under frames. So we have three basic choices up here, and I already showed you insert, which is picture and video. Frames is another one where I can add a frame, and frame is the basic name of an invisible pane where the camera goes in and shoots it. So if I want to climb in closer to that video on the next one, I can add a frame there. And if it shows up in left field over there, I can put it into this region and decrease the size. So there are a couple of things happening here. I'm adding a frame so that it zooms in there, but you'll notice it went down a few steps. So my next one actually takes me over there, and then it takes me to the one I just made. Okay, so if I wanted to move that, all I do on the left is move it up to wherever I want. So that was an accident that happened where I put it out of order. So if I wanted the camera to go in a certain order, I can just move it over here on the left. And it takes some finesse and some getting used to. After about an hour with the program, you can do it a little bit quicker and put it in the exact order that you want and make everything look good. The other thing that happened is the video decreased because the frame is sort of proportional to everything in the frame, which is the fancy way of saying that this decreased because the frame decreased. So when I go in here, I can make this video big again. If anything, the basic idea being that if anything changes sizes on you, you can just change it right back manually. And if I don't want that text, I don't have to have that text, for example. I'll just delete all that text. So now we have this video. So we go from the picture to the video. Make this a little bit bigger so we see the big picture. And then we can zoom into the video on the next one. So anytime you want to test it, we can go into present mode on the upper left, and we'll start at the first one. So if I'm going through my presentation from the first screen, I can go up and just like on PowerPoint, you can click to go to the next slide, or you can use the arrows left and right to go to the next slide. So this is my presentation. We're talking about water pollution today. These are the effects that we're going to talk about. This is the big picture. I'm going to show you a picture, I'm going to show you a video, and the third one's blank because we haven't got to it yet. But I'm going to tell you how does water pollution affect us. The next slide is a picture of a healthy iceberg. Nothing happened to it. This is 5 years ago in whatever region we're talking about. The second one, this is a video of an iceberg flipping over. I just wanted to show you this as a reference to what can happen in 5 years' time. You can go in, zoom in on the video, start playing it. It goes full screen automatically. So this is whatever iceberg in whatever region. You can see how it's flowing. You can see, blah, blah, blah. And then when we're done, we get a big ad like that for some reason. When we're done, we can hit pause on the lower left to pause the video, or we can just hit escape to get out of it too. But basically, as well as I want it to. So I can pause the video and talk about it as I'm doing it. I can restart the video if I want, and I can go to the next slide if I want. So then I'm done with the video, and I can just click through and arrow through to the next slide. This is the third detail I'm going to talk about. This is what the iceberg looks like now. It's all completely melted, and there's a bunch of penguins that are dying from it. Whatever you want to say. And then the last slide, you can put whatever you want. You can make one with your contact information, for example. So if I wanted to get out of here, I can press escape, because it said to press escape to get out of full screen mode. So you can press escape, and that's standard for most programs. If you're in full screen, you can press escape and get out. So if I wanted to add something completely to the presentation, you see that's only 7 slides. So that was my entire thing. It was just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a blank one there in the video. So if I wanted to add something at the end, maybe my contact information, email, or whatever I wanted to do, we can add a new slide. By adding a frame. I thought it would be called adding a slide. I haven't done it so long. But adding a frame will give you a new place to zoom to. So if I wanted to add a frame out in the middle of the ocean to give my contact information, it gives me a really big frame to work with. You can take it down to whatever level you want. I want to put this out in the middle of the ocean and put my name there. So now I have the frame set, but I want to get to it. I can go back on the left. This is my roadmap. I can go into frame number 8, and I can put contact info, and I can add Justin and email. And then that's there. That's my closing one. I could put another picture there if I wanted to. And if I hit present, then you can go back to your main screen. Should probably pick the first slide first. Presentation will start whatever slide you selected on the left-hand side. So if I click present from the very first screen, this will take me all the way through my presentation, which you've already seen a couple of times. And then at the very end, we added a thing where it goes to my contact info. So it's like your final screen. Yes?
You added a frame to a slide. Can you add an additional slide? You added a frame onto a slide that was already there.
I was interchanging the words frame and slide, which are the same in this program. So frame creates a new slide. That's why I got confusing. Okay, so these are all, considerably, they're called frames within Prezi. I called them slides because I was used to working with PowerPoint. But if you think of it, if you add something to the big picture here, it just adds another camera view. So adding a frame and a slide is the same concept here.
You can add another circle.
Yes, you can grab more objects here. For example, if you wanted something that was already loaded in there, I can zoom in with my scroll button. I can click on the object that I want to add, and I can copy and paste it. There's also a circle in there, but I'm pretty sure you can copy and paste this thing too. You just copy and pasting Prezi content. It's probably because the combination of browser and Flash player they're using. It's a technical problem, but usually like in a Word document, you can copy and paste pictures and text like that. You can usually hit Control-C and Control-V to copy and paste things in here too. So if you see something you like, if I want to copy that picture, I can do so. But sometimes there's a built-in control to copy it too. There's not. But yeah, you can add a new circle from the frames and arrows in menu. So I didn't go through every single option, so it's a lot more powerful of a tool if you get into it, just like any program. If you use it more, you'll find out more tricks. But if I wanted to draw a circle frame, I can do so around the whale, for example. And there's going to be a frame right there. What it did is it automatically added that to the bottom because it doesn't know what area in the presentation I want it to. But I can move it around on the slide list on the left if I wanted to have it earlier. I can move it up or down on the left as I want it. So one thing you can do is also change the entire color scheme. And that's the third button that we didn't go over under themes. So if I wanted to, I can make very strange looking colors and stuff. And that just changes like how the font appears, what colors are in the background and things like that. Sailor theme seems appropriate. That's the one they had picked. So you can set everything the way you want it and then say, okay, well those colors don't really work together, or my organization has a different color scheme. You can pick whichever one you want over here after the fact. So you don't have to go through and recreate every single box to be a certain color. You can just do it that way. So that's pretty neat. When you're done here, this is like some other programs it saves automatically. So in the top here I see a little diskette, and that's usually the save sign. But now you can see it just saved automatically. What it does is it wants to save all your updates as it goes along so you don't lose anything. Sometimes you lose information on a computer. So if we save it here just to make sure, we can click on the disk and it will save it. But it says saved at 1453, which is 253. And then what we can do is we could just exit and it'll be saved on our accounts page. So if I'm done working with it for now, I can hit exit. Yes.
So you can't save it as a name to separate it from your other Prezi presentations that you have saved?
It's going to load the name that you use on the title screen, basically.
Okay.
But you can go and edit it. Oh, it actually didn't. So you can edit it from here too. Let's see if you can do that from within the program. If I go into my account and just click this blue edit button, maybe the name of the thing is at the top there. I don't see the name showing up inside the presentation view. So maybe not. But one way to manage it is to go into your account after you exit and manage it that way. So within the presentation, I can also, we were talking about, can anybody edit it? No, it's under your account, but you can invite somebody to edit it if you want. And all they would do is log in themselves. So if they need a Prezi login, they would just do that themselves. It doesn't take that long to log in. And then you can share on Facebook. So to print out, you could download it as a PDF. You're asking about printing before? Yes.
What does it mean, download as portable Prezi?
Okay, so this is one option I was telling you about earlier. We'll go through every step. Invite to edit means other people can work on your presentation if you're in a group.
Okay.
Online presentation, which means you can just send the link to where it is. So if I want to share the online presentation, anybody in the world can use that on their computer and go in and look at it, right? Now, if I wanted to go in and go back and edit and share this as a I think my recorder turned off. If I want to share this on Facebook, I can do so, post on my wall. Download as PDF is good because then you can print it. So PDF means printable document. And then download as portable Prezi is a way to save it to your computer. So let's see what this looks like. Download PDF. So the question to printing out your PDF, printing out your presentation is here. You can zoom in and pick different areas to print out, or you can print it all out as a roadmap there. And you can also save it for your own use. So it basically prints every frame that you do, and that way you can print it out, show it to people that way, or use it for your own notes.
So if you were doing a class and you wanted to hand out notes after the class was over, a lot of places hand out their PowerPoint presentation.
That's the one way to do it. Yeah, you could just download it as that, so you would have it saved on your computer as a way to read it, like a document, and then you can print them like that, and you can tell Acrobat, you can tell this to print 4 per page, or however you want to do it, or 1 per page, depending on how big the information is. So yeah, that doesn't look too hard to do at all. You can print out from there. And then download as a portable Prezi is a neat option if you're going to be on a computer without the internet, or if you want to archive it and save it yourself on your computer for long-term use, or to just save a copy of what you did. So what Prezi does is it stores everything on their website, and it's usually pretty reliable, you know, like Google or any email, they're saving it for you. But if you want to be 100% sure, you can save it yourself. And what it does is it creates a whole folder, because there's a lot of information here. So it creates a whole folder, and then when you try and open it, it'll create a program that you can play it in, and it's based on the Flash player. So as long as your Flash player is up to date, you can open your folder, and you can open your presentation. If you need to go somewhere that doesn't have the internet, you can show it to somebody on their computer or at a meeting if you don't have the internet. And that's one way of doing that.
Let me ask you one question. If you're going to do a presentation like this, and you put pictures, you know, like a timeline with pictures on there, can you put music and voice to it?
There is a way to insert some stuff on here. You can add background music, and if you have a microphone on your computer, you can add a voiceover. So one way this works is just uploading the file. So if you have the MP3 or whatever music you have, you can upload it there. And then adding voiceover will just allow you to record the track and put it in there too. Actually doesn't appear to let you record straight into this program, but if you do something like view the program and then record it on your own, if you have your own microphone or if you have a program like Audacity that's free, you can record that on your computer and then basically time it up and you can upload it here onto VoiceOver. So yeah, that is a possibility. It just requires another step of you actually having the music or having the VoiceOver ready. So you could actually have the VoiceOver loaded in and then try and assemble your frames to do in the particular time that the VoiceOver is. Or you can start playing your presentation on a timer and you can do the VoiceOver in another program.
But if I had a video of like my son saying something to his grandfather,
yeah,
I could put his picture or a picture and then make another frame or slide, whatever you want to call it, inside of that with a video dedicated to grandfather.
Yeah, you could actually put the video itself inside of it and start playing it. Yeah. And one way you can do the timer is if you're in this view, which all I did was exit. So now I'm not in the edit view, I'm just in the regular view mode. I can go over here and set a timer so that each frame goes by every 4 seconds. And so what it'll do is it'll start playing and it'll go like that. So if I have that playing and I need to add a voiceover, I can open up another program or on another computer, or if you have like a recorder on your phone, you can just open that up and say, okay, this is the iceberg, and do it in time with the play, and then you can go in and load that voiceover.
What about tables and shapes? I saw it.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of other things you can do. I just went over the basics of how to create a simple one. It still looks pretty good, right? I mean, just having a simple one there with minimal content. But if you wanted to, you could add arrows and drawings and a few other things. I didn't cover every single step in here, but you can draw an arrow there. And it's just basically everything's point and click to draw. I just pull across like that. Draw a line, highlight things. Let's see, inserting symbols and shapes. So this is kind of like a word art thing, where you can just pick out like a clip art, like the old school like MS Word clip art kind of thing. So if I wanted to put that in there, I can add that in there. A giant flame is bringing the iceberg down. So they have a few built-in pictures that you can use for free. And you can pick categories. If I want just basic shapes, I can add triangles and things. So all I'm doing is pulling it over. So this has a very Mac feel to it, even though you can use it on any computer you want. The Mac computers are very pull friendly. Like if I just pull that over on top of that, that would go in there. I guess you could do diagrams too. So if you wanted to do a flow chart within your presentation, or you wanted to do a timeline within your timeline, you can do all kinds of stuff like that. You can embed things within things. Those are just some options you have to make it a little bit fancier. I just kept it kind of basic. Other questions?
Can you insert a PowerPoint slide?
That's what I was trying to say, that you can insert some kind of PowerPoint. I haven't tried that. If I have a question like that, I'll go to Google and type in Prezi, insert PowerPoint slide. And maybe on Prezi support, it says you can import PowerPoint slides into Prezi.
Create a new Prezi and select PowerPoint from the top menu. Navigate to where your PPT or PPTX file is located, then click Open. On the right sidebar, you'll see that Prezi automatically converts and inserts your slides. You can drag your slides one at a time onto the canvas, or just click Insert All.
So it does transfer them as
Select an
previous.
automatic layout for your slides,
They might look
and
a little
choose
bit
whether or
different.
not you would like a path automatically added. Then click Insert.
And so it does it
You can
automatically.
edit your content just like any other content in your Prezi. Or click Present to start presenting right away.
So that goes from PowerPoint straight to Prezi. Okay.
But with PowerPoint, you can insert, say, a graph that you made in Excel. Can you do that?
I would say try and do it in the slide and then try and import the slide. So anything that shows up in PowerPoint, we'll try and shove into Prezi, and that's the way I would do it. Since, I mean, there might be some more advanced ways of doing that, but the options are to insert. Yeah. I would go ahead and try to do it that way. So if you already have a PowerPoint ready with a graph, I would just import the PowerPoint, and so that's another step, but that might clear it up for you. It's not totally integrated to Microsoft, but since it allows you to take from PowerPoint, as long as you can get it into PowerPoint, you can probably try and transfer it. Yes?
Is it supported with illustrator files?
I don't know, but as long as they're picture files, they're going. You mean like the raw Illustrator file? Probably not.
What would you convert it to?
As long as you could get it to a JPEG or a PNG or a GIF file. So we'll insert most picture files, but the raw file is for using specifically with the Illustrator program to edit it. So I don't think that would jive with it so much. Yes.
From my collection, does it include pictures and documents or just
Let's see. These are things that you've already added to your Prezi account. So this is a storage bin where you can upload a bunch of things to your Prezi account, and then anytime you want to use them in a particular presentation, maybe use the same picture over and over, you can just save it here instead of drawing it from your computer every time. Over yes? Okay. Well, that's the basics of Prezi. Since this is about technology in general, I was going to talk a little bit about tech. So if anybody didn't want to know about that stuff, you can feel free to leave if you want. But I was just going to go over a couple of things in terms of like our app of the week and the recent tech news. Is that okay? Everybody seems okay. So one thing that happened not so recently, but there was a recent update to it, is that Google Glass is this concept that people can attach to their glasses a camera or the internet or a computer screen that they can use. It's very futuristic sounding. And their update just includes a basic fact on how it works and what you can connect to and privacy concerns and things like that. So what do people think about that? What's the public reception to that?
Like real glasses, there's no lens, right?
Well, they're designed for everybody. So even for people who don't need glasses, you would that's part of the screen that shows up. So there's a way to focus just on the screen and just to focus on the foreground and the background. Basically, there were a lot of questions about it, and so Google wrote this big response to it and brings it through like the steps of what it is and what it does. So I can include that on the mailing if you're interested. But it just says it's a new way to interact with technology. They're always trying to push the borders. And so they're creating the system so you can sort of have something that you look at all the time as opposed to carry around your phone or maybe you misplace your computer or something like that. And it's also just a lot lighter and a lot easier to use apparently. But it says start thinking about a pair of glasses and imagine a very small computer packed into the frame. And there's a camera in it too. And so you can take pictures as you go along, or you can look up things on the fly. Now, logistically, it might be a little weird to think about that, but maybe they've worked out the kinks of how your eye responds to it being in that close a level. Not so much. I think there's like a button interface and a voice command.
Would it affect people with glasses?
Yeah, you probably have to wear the glasses independently of your own glasses, so I'm not exactly sure on how that works.
What about contact lenses?
Yeah, you can wear contact lenses with it, and then it'll go over and you won't see it. But it's saying maps, voice search, video calls, email, calendar. It's a hands-free device, and it goes by voice commands. So if you'll notice, even on google.com, you can now speak into your computer instead of typing. And this is a feature that's been added to a lot of devices like the iPhone with Siri and with the Android devices. Instead of typing in something, you can say it and search that way.
That's a nice feature.
Yeah. So basically like Palm City Publix, Phone City Publix. So it's not perfect every time, but if you enunciate and you have
On any computer?
a clear quiet. As long as you have a microphone on your computer, you can do that. So most laptops will have a microphone built in. The iPad has a microphone built in, and phones can do it too. The app we chose this week to talk about, I'm sorry, there's not a ton of information about that because it's still not widely released. So they're testing it now, and they probably give it out to a few super geeks that want to test it out, but they're not available to buy right now. That's just something on the horizon that I thought was neat to talk about for a second. And then the app we're sort of promoting this week is Kindle. We have our own library app that we use called Overdrive. But Kindle is an app that you can get on your iPad or other devices where you can read Kindle books on them. So you don't have to own a Kindle device to read Kindle books. And it's a free app that you can go in and download. And what it does is that Amazon has a ton of books that are available for free. So they sell books through their website, of course, but There are also Kindle books that they give away for free, and so they're things that people write, they just want to give away instead of sell, or they're older classics and things that have expired in terms of copyright. So you can go download all these ebooks and get them onto your iPad or your phone and read them through this Kindle app. And it basically looks like this. You have your bookshelf, and you can change settings just like you can with any kind of ebook app. And you can go in and search through their database. And so you can also buy books from them if you wanted to, so you could get the latest things and read them. You just have to pay. But there's also a lot of free books on there. And if you didn't know, you can search on Amazon. And it's always kind of scary to do this because there's some questionable titles on there. But if you put in free Kindle ebooks, see what I mean? So you can go down and see all these free books. Some dummies books are on there. That says free book, but it's 99 cents. So there are some books on there for free that you can just download and start reading right away. So if you don't have a Kindle, you can get this app. Or you can get the app for your computer, actually. You can download that app onto your PC and read the books that way. So that's just access to more books if you needed free reading material. That's how you do it.